Hey guys, I'm back to answer another frequently asked question about keto. And this one is in regards to what to order at Starbucks. So I definitely post Starbucks cups every once in a while in my Instagram stories or on my Instagram page. And I'm instantly flooded with messages from people asking, oh my gosh, I didn't know there was anything keto that you could order at Starbucks. What do I order? So I wanted to go through my favorite drinks that I order either for myself or decaffeinated options that I order for my daughter. And just so you know, there are definitely plenty of options when it comes to Starbucks or any coffee shop for that matter in keto. The obvious one, I would say, the most simplistic thing you can order would definitely be an iced coffee. If you want to add some fat to that iced coffee, you can ask for heavy whipping cream at Starbucks. In my experience, some coffee shops don't have that. Like a Coffee Bean, for example, they have half and half. They don't have heavy whipping cream. So in that way, Starbucks is better. So you want to say heavy whipping cream because that is obviously lower in carbs, and they have that because they use it to make their whipped cream. But when they make their whipped cream, they add sugar to the whipped cream. So you cannot have the whipped cream, but you can have the heavy whipping cream that is an ingredient in their whipped cream, if that makes sense. So iced coffee with a little extra fat, that's an easy way to do it. I've also heard that they have Kerrygold butter at Starbucks. I think they must just have little butter packets, perhaps it's used for their pastries. I tried to get it one time to ask them to just blend some coffee with the butter in one of their blenders, and the guy was really confused, and I just decided, you know what, it's okay. I'll take my standard, which is an Americano. So I usually order an Americano, hot or iced, doesn't matter, but I usually get it hot, and I ask for steamed heavy cream in my Americano, and I generally ask for 1 ounce or 2 ounces, just depending on how I'm feeling. I would recommend that you specify that because, you know, it's always different people, and some people will pour more because they're really not measuring it. They're just pouring it in. And if you got like 4 or 5 ounces of heavy cream, I mean, the calories and the carbs in that would add up a bit. So 1 or 2 ounces is a good amount. Adds a little creaminess to that Americano, which is great in my opinion. And then I like to sweeten it a bit. You definitely want to say no classic. Classic is just sugar water that Starbucks uses in their drinks. So say no classic, so you make sure they don't put any of that in there. And then if you want it sweetened, I either ask for 2 packets of stevia in that drink, or I get sugar-free syrups. The Starbucks around me have sugar-free vanilla, and they have sugar-free cinnamon dolce. They used to have sugar-free hazelnut, which was my favorite, but the ones around me at least don't have that anymore. So I'm not sure if they just kind of stopped carrying it at all of them, but if you have it, you're lucky. So a venti Americano with 1 or 2 ounces of steamed heavy cream, and in a venti I would ask for 4 pumps of sugar-free cinnamon dolce, which is a little less than they would put in normally. Personal preference. So that's my favorite drink. For my daughter, she's only 13, so I don't want her to have drinks with a bunch of caffeine generally. So I usually order her one of 2 things. The first one is a skinny mocha. Normally in a skinny mocha, it would be sugar-free mocha syrup. Oh, actually, they have sugar-free mocha. I left that off the list earlier. They do have that. I never get it, but she does. So sugar-free mocha syrup is in that, and then normally they would put low-fat milk, but since she's keto, I asked them to put in coconut milk instead, which is unsweetened, and they have it at the Starbucks locations. Sometimes I ask for heavy cream, but usually lately, now that they have coconut milk, I get coconut milk for her because it just adds to the flavor, which is nice. But either way, it's good. She gets it iced. And then the other drink that I get her, I call the pink drink. So that's the passion tea that they have, and it's iced. So I would say an iced passion tea with no classic, and with 1 or 2 ounces of heavy cream added, and then 1 or 2 stevias added to that. Starbucks has stevia and Splenda. I don't like Splenda. I prefer natural sweeteners. So I always get stevia. But again, I think across the nation, from what I've witnessed in traveling and whatnot, they all have it. Some Starbucks don't seem to keep the stevia packets out for some reason. I don't know why that is, but they have green stevia packets, and if you don't see them, maybe ask. They might have it behind the bar. But that would be my preference. So those are the drinks that we usually order. Starbucks is designed to create exactly the drink you want, so I would not be afraid to make sure you get really specific with them. Sometimes you have to repeat yourself. I actually prefer going into a Starbucks so that I can see them writing on the cup, because I've definitely gotten the wrong thing sometimes when I've gone through drive-thrus, and halfway through it or a little bit into it, I'm like, this doesn't taste right, and you never know if it is or not. So a little bit of control freak can go a long way in making sure you stay in ketosis. So those are my tips for Starbucks. Let me know in the comments below what your favorite drinks are that are keto friendly, and give this a thumbs up if you like my Starbucks tips. And happy coffee drinking, everybody. Happy ketoing, and make sure that you always find creative ways to be able to go to the restaurants or coffee shops in this case that you really love, because keto's not about restricting yourself, it's just about getting creative with what the options are that are keto friendly. All right?